Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to teach you a very easy way to create this glass morphism card effect in Adobe Illustrator. So let's get into the video. So we'll first start by creating our new file. Then with this I'm choosing the width as 125 pixels and the height as 75 pixels. Using RGB color and the resolution is 300. Now I have to set a new background. So I'll go to File, Document Setup. Then I'll activate Simulate Colored Paper. Then I'll choose a darker background because I want the glass to take effect. So something like this is okay. Then with this I'll choose the same thing, something similar like this. Okay. Now remember to zoom in and zoom out for it to take effect. Alright, perfect. So I'll hit M on the keyboard, or I can simply go to the toolbar and select the rectangle tool. Then I'll make a rectangle like this. Perfect. Next, I'll hit A on the keyboard, or I can simply go to the toolbar and get the direct selection tool. So I'll drag this part like this. Then I'll bring up my ingredients panel. If you can't find it, go to Windows, then Gradients. Okay. So with a fill at 0 location, I'll choose 40% opacity. Then at 100 location, 100% location, I'll choose also choose 40% opacity. Then with the angle, I'll choose 120. Then I'll hit X on the keyboard to bring up the stroke panel, to bring up the stroke. So with the stroke, I'll choose 100 opacity at 100% location, then 100% opacity at 0% location. Then with the angle, I'll choose -90. Next, I'll hit L on the keyboard to bring up the ellipse tool, or I can simply go to the toolbar and select ellipse tool. Alright, so whilst holding shift, I'll make a perfect circle like this. Okay, then with a stroke, I'll choose no stroke. Then I'll bring up the gradients panel. I'll drag it outside like this. Then I'll also bring up the swatches panel. Alright, so at 0% location, I'll choose 100% opacity. Then with the color, I'll choose this color. Then at 100% location, I'll choose 100% opacity. Then with the color, I'll choose, let's say, this color. Then the location, the angle, I'll choose 0. You can choose any color of your choice though. So I'll hit V on the keyboard to bring up the selection tool. Then whilst holding shift, I will select the rectangle as well. Then I'll align them. Alright, so I'll go back to A. I'll hit A on the keyboard or the direct selection tool. Then whilst holding shift, I'll drag them this side. Then I will hit V on the keyboard to bring up the selection tool. Then I'll hit outside so I can select the circle. Right now I want to send the circle to back, so I'll double click. Then I'll go to arrange, then send to back. Alright, perfect. Now I want to make a duplicate of the rectangle, so I'll hit Ctrl C, Ctrl F. Then I'll select the circle as well, Ctrl or Command C, Command F to duplicate. So as you can see, I've made a duplicate of the circle and I've made a duplicate of the rectangle as well. So I'll select one circle. Whilst holding shift, I'll select one rectangle. Then I'll hit Command 7 or Control 7 to create a clipping mask, as you can see. Or you can simply go to Object, then Clipping Mask. So with the clipping mask, I will hit A on the keyboard to bring the direct selection tool. Then I'll hit outside, then hit inside the circle. Then I'll bring up my appearance panel. I'll go to Windows, Appearance. Then I'll go to FX, Blur, then Gaussian Blur. So I'll choose 15 here. Then I'll hit V on the keyboard to bring up the selection tool. So I'll snap it back in place like this. Perfect. Now I'll send this to back. Then I'll make a duplicate of the rectangle. Control C, Control F, Command C, Command F. Then I'll select the circle. Then I'll select one rectangle whilst holding shift. Then I will go for the shape builder tool, and whilst holding Alt, I'll drag like this. Okay, perfect. Then I'll hit the text tool. Then I'll type, let's say. So I'll make the fill white. Okay. Then I'll go for the selection tool. Then I'll drag it back like this, which is perfect. Then with the font style, I'm using credit card. Then the font size is 2 points. Okay, that's perfect. Then I'll make another text, also with this fill white. Then I'll bring it down like this. I'm actually going to make the font bigger. Yeah, this is perfect. So I will select both text. Then I'll go to Object, Expand. Then I'll press OK. Then I'll go to Object, Compound Path, Make. Then I'll bring up the Gradients panel. If you can't find it, go to Windows, Gradient. Then with 100% location, I will choose 80%. Then with a 0% location, I will choose 100%. Now I want to draw a circle, so I'll hit L on the keyboard to bring up the ellipse tool. Then whilst holding shift, I'll draw a perfect circle like this. Then I'll turn off the fill. Then I'll bring up the stroke, white. In this case, I'm choosing white. Then I'll go to the gradient panel. At 0% location, I'll choose 100% opacity. Then at 100% location, I'll choose 0% opacity. With the degrees, I'm choosing 0. Then I'll hit V on the keyboard to bring up the selection tool. Then whilst holding the circle, I'll hold Alt, then drag to the right side like this to duplicate. Then hit reverse gradient. Alright, then I'll snap it in place. Okay, so I'll select both, hit A on the keyboard, then bring it to this place. Okay, perfect. Now I have to bring up another text. Montserrat regular. Then I'll type master. Then I'll choose the fill as white. Then I'll hit V on the keyboard to bring up the selection tool. Then I'll bring it to this place. Then I'll increase the font size to, let's say, 12. I think it's perfect. So that's it for today, guys. If you really enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and also share this video. See you.